Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to what has to be um, another installation in the Bio 0200 mentorship program. Today we're going to be looking at tutorials. We're going to be looking at tutorials. We're going to be looking at tutorials for week 1 and week 2. And so hopefully, for those of you who have done the tutorial 1, you could take out the tutorial and we could go over it. Or if you just want to do it freehand and just want to, you know, get a go at it, yeah, this will be a nice review. And then we're going to do tutorial 2. All right. Um, Spencer, Kaylee Spencer. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Um, are you there? Let me know. Kaylee Spencer. And then there's this other person. I can't really pronounce that name, but if you're here, we're glad you're here. Someone else in the comment. Okay, here I'm okay, good. Very good, no problem. Okay, so let's begin. So we're gonna it's gonna be a very interactive little study. Let's go over the terms. So what do we mean by sagittal plane? Any idea what we mean by sagittal plane? Anyone can answer. Don't be shy. What do we mean by sagittal plane? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. If you want to,
Uh,
if you want to take anyone, sagittal plane, frontal plane, and cephalization. What do we mean by those terms?
I have for the sagittal plane is a vertical plane that divides the body into left and right sections.
That's correct. So the sagittal plane is going to divide the body into left and right sections. That's good. Anyone for frontal plane? Frontal plane, anyone? So we know sagittal plane is going to divide into left and right. Frontal plane, that's going to divide it into what? Don't be shy. Hello, Le Alexander per Icho. I can't, it's hard to pronounce that name. How you pronounce your name?
It's Leo.
Leal, beautiful name.
Thank
You wanna
you.
tackle any of these definitions? We got the sagittal plane. What do we mean by the frontal plane or the cephalization? Anyone can answer. Anyone can answer. Don't be shy. If not, I'll just answer it. If y'all are not able, I can answer it, okay? But I just want to give you all opportunity. So I'm gonna
Um,
give you all
is
go ahead.
the frontal plane a vertical plane that divides the body bilaterally through an anterior front and into a posterior back?
That's correct. That's exactly right. So frontal plane is going to divide the body and basically into front and back, anterior and posterior. So that's a good definition. Very good. And then we have cephalization. So what do we mean by, so let me go ahead and post that. What do we mean by cephalization? Anyone can answer. So we have sagittal plane, left and right, frontal plane, front and back, cephalization. Let me check the chat. Cephalization is where, yes, is where, I think it says squeeze. You could speak, you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be, you could speak. It says squeeze, so that's what I'm gonna say. It says squeeze, but I don't think squeeze is here anymore. Okay, Rayan. Rayan, are you there? Where's Rayan? Is she? Okay, okay, no problem. You don't have to be afraid to speak. We don't bite there. Okay, so cephalization is gonna be where we have um civilization is gonna be where let me go where civilization is gonna be where we have all of our sensory organs or concentrated sensory organs, sensory tissues are concentrated to the front or to the head of the organism. Now, whenever that happens, we have the formation of the head, right? So that's what we mean by cephalization. So sagittal plane, it divides us into left and right halves. Frontal plane, it divides into anterior and posterior. And cephalization is going to be where we have the concentration of our nervous tissue, of our sense organs to the head, to the anterior, and that forms the head. So what would have like that cephalization thing or that cephalization feature? Obviously, is going to be definitely mammals. Definitely mammals. So like humans, mouse, right? Rats, like lions, cephalization. All of them are gonna be the head region is concentrated, right? So let me go ahead and show you some pictures about that, about the different planes and stuff. So let's go ahead and show you. So this is a good diagram showing the different planes that we have. So we have, obviously, this is the frontal plane, this is the sagittal plane, this is the transverse plane. So the transverse plane is going to cut it into upper and lower. The sagittal, obviously, left and right, like we said, and the frontal is going to be front and back. So that's a good diagram to help you all with that, right? Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the body plans. So let's go look at the body plans that we have here. So let me go ahead and go back to the first one. So we already defined our three types of planes. So now we're going to be talking about this body plan. So you could either put inside the chat or you could say it out loud. What you think A is, what you think B is, what you think C is, what you think D is, what you think E is, or what you think F is. You could say whatever one you want, right? Whatever one you could identify. So is there anyone for A? What is A? A is what? Anyone for A?
Is the dorsal hollow?
A is the dorsal hollow. Very good. Anyone for B? So A is the dorsal hollow. Anyone for B? What is B? B is this structure right there. So A is the dorsal hollow. That's going to be up here. Anyone for B? What is B?
The notochord.
The notochord. Very good. B is the notochord. I don't know if I posted. Okay, good. What is C? C is what? What is C?
No.
C is the coelom. Very good. So A is the same oval structure here. That is the dorsal hollow. B is the notochord, like y'all said. C is the coelom, right? What is D? What is D?
The ectoderm.
D is the ectoderm, yeah. D is the ectoderm. What is E? This opening right there. There's actually two names we could use, but whatever one y'all remember. What is
The
D?
visceral cleft.
The visceral cleft. There's also another name. So we have the visceral cleft. I don't know if y'all know the other name, but the other name is so we have the visceral cleft and we have the it's hard to pronounce that, but this cleft. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. But visceral cleft and this cleft. Then we have F. F is what? So F refers to this particular region right there. What is that? This region right there.
The mesoderm.
The mesoderm, but which mesoderm? Because there's like two types of mesoderms inside this diagram. So we have obviously this is F, and if you put by the way, Sierra, if you put mesoderm, you would get it right. So there's no like the diagram did say mesoderm, but you in G1 or G2? Y'all in G1 or G2? Like which scrim y'all in?
G2.
G1, G2? Okay, so but if you look at Miss Jolly notes, um and if you look at the diagrams, there's like two types of mesoderms that she outlined there. Obviously, if you just say mesoderm, you would be right. So that's no problem. But there's two types of mesoderms that she talked about, right? The first one was the splanchnic mesoderm. So this right there, and by the way, let me highlight it because at first it could be confusing, but once you get it, you get it. So the first mesoderm that we have is this one right here. That's the inner one. That's the one that is closer to the gut. All this here. All this here. That's the splanchnic mesoderm, right? The one on the inside, right? All this. That's the splanchnic mesoderm. It's close to the gut. That's the splanchnic mesoderm. That's F. So if you're in the exam, if I were you, I just gonna put mesoderm because you probably may not remember splanchnic mesoderm, but it's definitely the splanchnic mesoderm. That's the one I have highlighted in red. And then we have the other mesoderm, which is going to be this one on the outer. This one right there. That's this one. And this mesoderm, I don't know if y'all are familiar with this one, but this one is on the outer. is going to be what we call the somatic mesoderm. So this is the somatic mesoderm right here. That I have highlighted in blue. So there are two types of mesoderms that we have. We have the splanchnic mesoderm that's closer to the gut, and we have the somatic mesoderm. All right. Now in the exam, if you just put mesoderm, you will get it correct. There's no world where you won't get it correct. But if they ask you to differentiate between the two, at least you will know. Like if they are these two parts labeled, at least you will know like what is what. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we have that. Oh, I think I have the answer already posted, but indicate which structure will develop into the vertebral column or the backbone. That's definitely going to be the notochord. So the notochord is going to develop into the backbone. Okay. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense to y'all. Y'all understand it so far? Let me know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No problem. So, okay, so next thing that we're gonna do is what I want to do is I want to give us a little quiz on that, on the part. So if you need to take a picture, you could take a picture of this because I'm gonna give us just a short little quiz on what we just did. So to make it sort of like interacting. So I know some people don't want to talk, but at least you can participate in the quiz. All right. So let's go. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to put the pin inside the chat, and the way it works is that everyone it's good if you could participate. I'm gonna put the pin inside the chat, and then everyone, all your answers is gonna be given one time, right? So as you participate in it, it's gonna give you a score in real time, right? So let me put the link inside the chat. You could also like scan it if you want to. And so this is gonna be our first quiz one. All right. So the link is inside the chat. All you need to do is click the link or scan the QR code, either one, and then you could join. All right. So hopefully we have persons join. Okay. Thank you, Rayan. Thank you, JV. Hello, JV. I can't hear from you. I don't know if you could speak, but I see you. I don't know if your mic works. I don't know. Thank you, Sierra. So you have Rian, JV, Sierra. Anyone else before we um move on? Shekinah, you want to join as well? And Lael, you want to join? And Haley, y'all could join as well. So we have Ryan, JV, and Sierra. Haley and Shekinah, y'all want to join? Let me know before we start. I'm not hearing from them, so I don't know. So I guess we could start. Um, so we could start. Just to quickly get over it, we don't want to spend too much time on this, right? So let's begin. So it's three of us. So the way it works is that you're gonna see some objects on your screen. You have to click on the correct. You have to click on the correct. Um, you have to click on the correct GV. I see you're recording. Do you have a GC? Just oh yeah, I will send the link. I would send the link to rewatch. Yeah, I will. I will send the link to rewatch. I'll send it in the group. Yeah. So okay, good. We have four people, so that's good. So the way it works is that all you need to do is the question is going to come on the screen and it's going to be in the form of like shapes. So all you need to do is that you're going to click on the correct shape. All right. And you have to be fast because it measures you on how fast you take. All right. So again, look on obviously my screen for the shapes, but click on your side. All right. So let's begin. Okay, there we go. So chordate body plan. So let's begin. So the first question says that which structure is F? So which structure is F? So we have this diagram here. Which structure is F? So F is this one right there. F is this. So which structure is F? All right. This is F right there. So which structure is F? All right. Okay, very good. F is the splanchnic mesoderm. Very good. But like I said, if you just put mesoderm in the exam, obviously they will give you that right. So next we have, uh, what we have? Let me see. Next. Okay, very good, guys. Very good, everyone. Okay, next we have which structure is A? Which structure is A? So we have A right here. This is A. Which structure is A? And by the way, A is also right there. So which structure is A? So we have A right there. Which structure is A? Very good. A is definitely going to be the dorsal hollow. Very good, guys. Very good, Shekinah. You put yourself on the board. Okay, next. Which structure is D? Which structure is D? So we need D. So D is going to be, where's D? D is this one. D is this A, B, C. D is this one, the outside one. The outside one. What is D? Which one is D? Which structure is D? D. Structure is D. All right, very good. D is going to be the ectoderm. That's the outside structure. Very good. Very good, guys. Okay, next we have um next we have which structure is C? Which structure is C? Which structure is C? Which structure is C? Very good. C is the coelom. Yeah, C is the coelom. That's a good one. Very good, guys. Okay, y'all doing pretty well. Okay, now we have which structure is E? Which structure is E? E. So E is going to be this opening here. I told you it could be two names. I only give you one. I only give you one. Oh, yeah, yes, the visceral cleft. Very good, guys. All right, y'all, we're doing pretty well. And then we have um which structure is B? Which structure is B? B. So B is going to be this particular yeah, y'all got it. Knocked. Yeah, noctugoid. All right. So the results are in, and all y'all did pretty well. Very good, everyone. Very good, JV. Very good. Um, Rayan, very good. I think, yeah, I think that gotta be Sierra. Very good, everyone. And what's her name? Shekinah as well. Everyone did well. Okay, so that's good. Y'all did pretty well with that. Thank you all for engaging. Really means a lot that you all engage in it. So hopefully you learn something from it, right? So, okay, good. So that's just like a good little review, go over it and stuff like that, right? So the way how we know what all these body plans are is because in our lab, and not lab, but in the notes, they gave us they gave us um they gave us this. So if you look at Miss Jolly notes, you'll be able to see both of these diagrams. So both of these diagrams, if I were you, which I am because I'm in this course as well, I would seek to notice and memorize this. So memorize would be in the non-chordate and the chordate, right? So memorize what we mean by the ectoderm, memorize what we mean by the dorsal cord, memorize what we mean by the coelom, the mesoderm, the visceral cleft, the endoderm, the um vitreal heart. Memorize all this. So this is very good information right now. Okay, so next. We already did cephalization. Anyone want to tell me what we mean by so we know cephalization is when everything is concentrated, the nervous system is concentrated to the head. Can anyone tell me what we mean by spherical symmetry? And another person can tell me what we mean by hemosil condition. So don't be shy, but you could tell me it either inside the chat or you could tell me it out loud. What do we mean by spherical symmetry and what do we mean by hemosil condition? Anyone could tell me. Don't be shy. Spherical symmetry and hemocircle. You could even look at your notes. It should be somewhere in the notes as well. Spherical symmetry and hemosil condition. Anyone want to answer? Spherical symmetry and hemosil condition. No one? Sierra, do you know?
Um, Is it when the body is arranged around an central axis that can be sliced into equal parts along multiple sagittal planes passing through the central axis?
Uh, you almost sound like you're describing radial symmetry, but I understand exactly what you mean. So basically, like exactly what she's trying to say, right? So she is saying, so imagine, so what sort of shapes we know that have a spherical shape? What sort of objects we know that have a spherical shape? So when you think about a sphere, you think about maybe a ball, maybe a volleyball, a soccer ball, a basketball, not a football because football is like that. But if you maybe basketball, football, volleyball, golf ball, tennis, all of them are spherical in nature. The idea is that whatever plane that you cut it in, it doesn't matter the plane that you cut it in. Um, once it passed along the center, it would form two mirror images of each other. That's basically the definition of spherical symmetry. All right. So very good. It doesn't matter where you slice it, right? It's the same per slice. So very good. So that's what I mean by spherical symmetry. Anyone with hemocoel? What do you mean by hemocoel or hemocoel condition? Anyone can answer. Hemocoel or hemocoel condition? Anyone?
And that's when the coelom is full of fluid.
Okay, the very good attempt. So basically, um, so basically when we talk about this hemocoel, the hemocoel is basically so let me maybe draw a picture. Right? So let's go ahead and but you are right. The hemocoel, sorry, the coelom is definitely a fluid-filled cavity, right? That's what the coelom is. But let's talk about the hemocoel, right? So let's say you have this organism. So let's draw this organism, right? Let's use white, maybe. Yeah, let's use white. So we have this organism, right? This is this organism. Now, usually an organism that is a coelomate, obviously the organism that's a coelomate, will have what we call a true coelom. So it would have a true coelom, right? Now, this true coelom, what is the job of the coelom? Well, first of all, what does the coelom have in it? What does the coelom have in it? The coelom is gonna have what?
Fluid.
Fluid, very good. What is the purpose of the fluid? To do what?
To protect the
Very
organism, I guess.
to protect the very, very good. So inside the coelom is gonna be organs, structures that the remember this is in the embryonic form. So we're gonna have these little structures, these little organs that's gonna be floating around. So what the coelom does, it helps to suspend it, these organs. It helps to protect them. It helps to cushion them. Does that make sense? That is the job of the true coelom, right? And what sort of organisms would have a true coelom? Would we call these organisms that have a true coelom? Call them what? Organisms that have a true coelom. Don't be shy.
Not probably a coelomate.
Coelomate,
Or
coelomate,
yeah.
very good. And what we call the ones that don't have a true coelom? We call them a what?
A coelomate.
A coelomate, very good. So good. So now, when we talk about the hemocoel condition, so let's go ahead. Now we're talking about the hemocoel condition. So hemo. By the way, these are found in what? Triploblastic organisms as well, right? So they're gonna have an ectoderm. They're gonna have an endoderm. They're gonna have an ectoderm. They're gonna have a mesoderm, right? They're gonna have all three of the germ layers. All right. And so that's what we mean by triploblastic. They have the three germ layers. Now, and with these types, the coelomates, they're gonna also have the coelom. Now, there's something called hemocoel condition. So hemocoel condition or hemocoel. So basically, when you have an organism that has a coelom, a hemocoel, this is only true for organisms that have a closed, not a closed, an open circulatory system. An open circulatory system. Now, there are two types of circulatory systems, open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. What do you think we mean by a closed, what sort of organisms do you know that have a closed circulatory system? What sort of organisms do you know that have a closed circulatory system?
Like humans.
Humans, very good. So human beings, mammals, we have a closed circulatory system. What does that mean for our circulatory system to be closed? What does that mean? Closed
That
circulatory.
the blood doesn't leave the veins or the arteries or anything. It
Very good.
stays in the body.
Very good. So that means that blood never leaves the blood vessels. So this here we have our blood vessels, and the blood is going to go in a cycle. It's never going to come out of these blood vessels. Never, ever, 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 right? Now, so that means how are we going to get oxygen? How are we going to get nutrients? How are we going to get all those things? Well, that's going to be by diffusion and stuff, right? Diffusion, gas exchange, all that stuff, right? But the blood itself, so you get arteries, you get capillaries, you get arterioles, you get venules. All those things help to um help in the transferring of blood, not blood, help in the transferring of oxygen, nutrients that the cells need. But the blood itself never ever leaves, never ever leaves the blood vessels. All right? It never leaves the blood vessels. It never does, okay? But how about for open circulatory system? Well, for open circulatory system, what's the difference? So we know for closed, the blood stays within the blood vessels. It never leaves the blood vessels. But how about for the closed circulatory system? What's the situation there?
Isn't that when the blood flows into the hemocellulary cavity
Mm,
and then it flows, well, it bathes the organs and it kind of flows back into the system?
Very good. That's literally the definition. Literally the definition. So closed circulatory system, the blood stays within the blood vessels. That's your capillaries, that's your arteries, that's your veins, right? That's closed. So human beings would have that. What other organisms do you think would have a closed circulatory system? We know human beings. What other organisms would have a closed circulatory system?
Like other mammals, like dogs, cats.
Yeah, yeah. Or other animals like your cat, your dog, all of them would have a closed circulatory system, right? Now, where things get weird is when we start talking about an open circulatory system. So now let's talk about that. So we know the closed, it stays in. Open circulatory system, things a bit different. So let me go ahead and erase all this. So let's go ahead and talk about the closed circulatory system. So with the open circulatory system, let's use say that color, and let me go ahead and do something like this, right? So open circulatory system. So now for open circulatory system, let's go back here. Let's go here, right? So now we're going to be talking about the open circulatory system. That is where we have the hemocoel condition. So open circulatory system is where you have the hemocoel condition. Open circulatory system. Remember, we're trying to describe what we mean by hemocoel condition. That is only present when you have an animal that has an open circulatory system. So when we're describing the system, notice that we would have, again, we have this organism right here, this organism. Now, the thing about the open circulatory system, remember we're trying to talk about the hemocoel. Hemocoel is only found in animals that have what? An open circulatory system. So what is going to happen to the coelom in the open circulatory system? Remember, in a regular triploblastic animal, a coelomate, the coelom is filled with what? Fluids and stuff and all that good stuff. This is the coelom. The coelom is nice and large, right? That is the true coelom. That is when you have a regular triploblastic organism, a regular coelomate, right? So you have a true coelom. This is for regular coelomates. You have a true coelom. However, there are some coelomates that they have a hemocoel because they have an open circulatory system. So what does that mean? This true coelom will be reduced or it will be replaced. So think about that. So imagine this true coelom never develops into its full form because of the hemocoel. So this true coelom it never develops into its true form. So this true coelom never does. What's going to happen is, so let me go ahead and, what's going to happen to this same structure is that this structure is no longer going to be called, it's going to be replaced. So it's not going to be called coelom anymore. The coelom, like I said, the coelom is only going to grow so small. The coelom is not going to be big. The coelom is it's still going to have a coelom, but it's not going to be big. They're going to be like little patches, right? So this right now is going to be a coelom. So the coelom is going to be small. Like I said, the coelom is going to be replaced by what we call the hemocele. So this now is the coelom. So inside organisms with an open circulatory system, the hemocele acts as the coelom. So it replaces it, right? Now, what is the hemocele? The hemocele is a blood cavity. It is a blood cavity. So remember, when we say that organs and stuff inside there, so that means that all of the blood is going to bathe these organs. So the organs in here and everything, the blood is going to directly bathe these organisms inside the hemocele. That is the job of the hemocele. Number one, it's inside organisms that have open circulatory system. Number two, the hemocele replaces the true coelom and takes on the function of the coelom. And number three, the hemocele is a blood cavity. So if you remember anything that I say, always remember that the hemocele is a blood cavity found in organisms with an open circulatory system. It replaces the job or substitutes the job of the coelom. All right? Does that make sense a little, at least a little for you all? To kind of get a little understanding of the hemocele, or you need me to explain it a bit more, just let me know. Rayan said yes. Anyone else? Anyone else need me to go over it a little more? You got it? Okay, good. So they said the picture is worth more than 1,000 words. I did a lot of explaining, so let me read the definition, and then I'm going to show you some pictures. So the hemocele condition is the main body cavity filled with blood or hemolymph. Hemolymph is just animal blood. Internal organs lie directly in this fluid instead of being enclosed in a true coelom. So that is the job of the hemocele. It acts as the main. It's like basically a blood cavity. It replaces the true coelom, and it is where the blood bathes the internal organs of, like, say, an insect or something like that. So let me show you a diagram of the hemocele. So let me just go ahead and show you it. That is what we dealt with that in our last in our last class. That's when we dealt with we was talking about body plans. That's what we was talking about, triploblastic, all them other stuff, triploblastic, coelomate, and all that stuff. So let me go ahead and open that PowerPoint and show you all what I mean by what I'm talking about, just so you get a better understanding of things. So good. So this is, obviously we have the germ layers. Like I was telling you about the germ layers, we have ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. What organism have all three of these? What we call organisms that have all three of these germ layers? We call an organism that have all three.
Triploblastic.
Triploblastic.
Yeah, triploblastic. We call them triploblastic organisms. So let's go back. Let's talk about so remember we talk about two types of organisms. We have open circulatory system and closed circulatory system. Which one of these, based on diagram now, would you say have a closed circulatory system? The one that's on the left or the one that's on the right? Which one have a closed circulatory system? The one that's on the left or the one that's on the right? Which one have a
On
closed?
your right?
The one that's on the right. The one that's on the right has a closed circulatory system. The one that's on the left has a what? What type of circulatory system do we describe this as? This is a what?
Open.
An open circulatory system. So organisms that have an open circulatory system, what is the name of the cavity that holds the blood? What do we call that? The blood cavity. What is the name of that blood cavity?
Hemocele.
The hemocele. All right, the hemocele. Good. So basically all of the blood is going to go, the blood is going to go to the hemocele, and it bathes directly the blood cells and the body organs, okay, directly, all right? So that is the difference between these two. And these are gonna have the hemosil. Now, true or false? Does the hemosil replace or substitute the function of the true coelom? True or false? Let me ask a question.
True.
True. Definitely true. Definitely true. The coelom, the hemosil replaces the function of the coelom. All right, it replaces it or substitutes it. All right. Okay, good. So that is when we talk about hemosil conditions, we're talking about animals that have an open circulatory system. All right. We talk about true coelom, we're talking about organisms that have a true coelom. Okay, so that's that. That's a long rant on hemosil. Hopefully, you all get a little bit better understanding of it. All right. If not, just ask the question, whether in class or you can message me. Okay, so we already did this. Obviously, A is the ectoderm, B is the dorsal, C is the coelom, E is the endoderm. Let me ask you all a question. This D, what is D? D is what?
The mesoderm.
The mesoderm. What type of mesoderm is D? Because remember I told you there's two types of mesoderms. The one that is closer to the gut, what do you call that one? I don't know if y'all can remember, but it's called, let's see, someone else, not the visceral. No, this is still, if you put mesoderm and if you put mesoderm in the exam, you will get it right. But I just want to let y'all know that there are two types of mesoderms. You have the one that's closer to the gut, and you have the one that's closer to the ectoderm. So, no, not mesoglia. That's, mesoglia is, no, not mesoglia, no. That's fine. For those of you who were here earlier, I don't know if y'all took the actual wording down, but it's actually going to be the splanchnic mesoderm. So remember I told y'all, if we go back up here, I said that, hey, we have two types of mesoderms. We have the splanchnic mesoderm, the one that's closer to the gut, that one, and we have the somatic mesoderm, right? The one that's on the outside, the one that's on the closer to the ectoderm. So if we go back here, so again, splanchnic mesoderm and somatic mesoderm. But again, if you just put mesoderm, you'll get it correct. But if they ask you for the differences between these two, you know that one of them is the somatic one, and the other one is one of them is the splanchnic one, the one that's closer to the gut, and the other one is the somatic one. All right? So back to this question. What is D? What mesoderm is D? This one and D. What is that? That is the what?
The splanchnic.
The splanchnic. Very good. And what is this one, the one that's on the outside?
Somatic.
That's the somatic. Very good. Somatic. So we have the splanchnic and the somatic. Cool. And then obviously we have the ventral nerve cord and the endoderm. Okay, cool. Next question. Name two structures absent in this diagram that will be present in a similar diagram of a chordate. I don't know if y'all have your tutorials, but
Pharyngeal cleft.
say it again.
Pharyngeal cleft. Pharyngeal cleft.
Or you actually pronounce it better than me. I didn't even attempt to pronounce it. You mean the visceral cleft? Very good. Wait, is that one? And anyone have any other one? Absent in this diagram that will be present in the chordate.
The notochord.
The notochord. Very good. So the visceral cleft and the notochord are two. Because this is a non-chordate. This is not chordate. Okay? So good. Now, what are the functions of a coelom? And y'all could just say in your own words, what's the function of the coelom? Or you could read something if you have it. Coelom. I need four, what shall I say? Four functions or rules of the coelom. Anyone could answer? Someone put their answer in the chat. Let's see what they say. Protection of internal organs. Yes, that is definitely correct. Thank you, JV. Anyone else? The rule of the coelom. Protection of internal organs. Anyone else? Okay, don't be shy to answer.
It can function as a kind of hydrostatic skeleton to help maintain the body shape and assist for locomotion.
That's correct. So it's hydrostatic skeleton in what type of organs though? Not organ, in what type of organisms? So it forms a hydrostatic skeleton in what type of organs? And if you don't know, that's fine. I could let you know.
Nine maybe like unicellular ones, maybe.
Like a soft bodied, so like annelids, right? So it helps with like it provides support. So basically, like you said, the hydroskeleton, but it does that in soft body annelids. So these rules of the coelom is not true for all coeloms, because like I said, some coeloms are reduced, right? And some coeloms are very big, right? Depending on the organisms. In some organisms, it has the rule of, like you say, the hydrostatic skeleton. In other organisms, the rule is a bit different. But you are true, it does, and it does help with locomotion, it does help them to move, and it does form a hydrostatic skeleton in some organisms. So that's good. And it does protect. Anyone else with a function of the coelom? So we have protect
It
internal
provides
organs.
space for the internal organs.
Yes, it does provide space for the internal organs. Yes, space is a good one. So we have space, we have protection, we have help with locomotion, we have it helps with provide support, acting as a hydroskeleton. Anyone else? Anything else that we didn't mention? I think I know you have a list of things that you
And
have a
in
list.
transport, like
Definitely
internal
transport.
transport.
Yeah, it does. So it helps the transport medium. So it helps with the transport of nutrients, gases, and stuff. Because it's like a fluid, right? So it's a transport medium, like you said. So some things I have here is that the coelom provides space. It acts as a cushion to protect against mechanical shock. It allows movement. We talk about movement, locomotion, and it also helps with being a hydrostatic skeleton, helping to maintain the body shape and assist with locomotion. So very good, guys. Okay, cool. Do we have anything else on this that we didn't cover? We did the frontal plane, we did the transverse plane, we did hemocoel condition. We did not do radial symmetry. Anyone want to help me with radial symmetry? What is radial symmetry? Radial symmetry. Anyone? So radial. Oh, I don't want to give you an answer. But while you're looking for it, what is?
It
Go
can be
ahead.
divided into similar halves by more than two planes passing through the longitudinal axis.
Who said that? Charisma?
Yeah.
I need you to say that definition again because that is a perfect definition. That is literally a perfect definition. Say it again.
It can be divided into similar halves by more
Mhm.
than two planes passing through the longitudinal axis.
Very good. That part with the longitudinal axis is very important because it's like a central axis, right? So you want to make sure I state that. Make sure I state that in your definition when you're talking about the radial symmetry. Make sure I mention about the radial symmetry. Make sure talk about that it passes through a central axis. Please make sure I mention that. That is going to be very helpful when you answer a question. Please mention radial symmetry. And whenever you're given your like definitions of these symmetry and planes, talk about where they pass. So use the word anterior, posterior, um, where appropriate, upper, lower, use those sort of things so you could, from an anatomical standpoint, be able to describe what you are talking about. So very good, perfect definition. I couldn't think of a better definition myself. So we have right now radial symmetry is a body arrangement in which body parts are arranged around a central, like she said, central longitudinal axis. So the organism can be divided into similar halves by many planes passing through this axis. So very good thing. We have different organisms, and I'm going to post them here, that have radial symmetry. So obviously this organism right here. Anyone have any other ideas of organisms that show radial symmetry? Any ideas of organisms that show radial symmetry?
A starfish.
A starfish, yeah, definitely a starfish. A starfish shows radial symmetry. That's absolutely correct, Sierra. If you want to be technical, we could say that um it does show it has like another type of symmetry that it shows, but that is a form of radial symmetry. So it's still radial symmetry when you really think about it. So she is definitely right. Um, Anyone else? So we have radial symmetry is going to be in, let's see, Cnidarians, jellyfish. So with the radial symmetry, we have, like she mentioned the starfish. We have coral polyps, sand dollar. We also have radial symmetry inside of these organisms. So this one, anyone can remember what this organism is? But we know this is
A
starfish.
hydra.
Who said hydra? Very good charisma. It is the hydra. This is what this one is. This one is what?
Is it a sea anemone or something so?
You're absolutely right. It is the sea anemone. And then obviously you have the starfish. So these organisms show what type of symmetry do these organisms show?
Radial
Radial,
symmetry.
radial symmetry, radial symmetry. Shekinah, Lael, and Tamika, y'all still with us? We don't want no one left behind. So y'all could say something or maybe give a thumbs up or hello. We don't leave no one behind. So just let us know that you said okay, good. So there. Okay, good. Very good. Okay, perfect. Okay, good stuff. So everyone is there. So okay, that's that. Let's see if we have anything else that we need to cover in the first tutorial. Okay, so let's go. Anything else we need to cover in the first tutorial? So let's go back to that. We are going to do the second tutorial, but I want to know if we finished the first tutorial. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if we finished the first tutorial. So we talked about the different types of the forms of how the coelom helps. This is basically the same thing, right? So I don't think we have to go over this. It's basically saying the same thing again. All the different types of, parts that we already talked about. So those are the same things. So we ain't got to go over that. Okay, this is a good one. Circulatory system. Yeah, we're gonna do circulatory system right after this. So name two structures present in the diagram that will develop into the ventral column. Inside this diagram, what would develop into the ventral column? What would develop into the brain?
And the notochord
Notochord.
develop into ventral.
Say it again.
The notochord.
For the vertebral column, yeah, notochord. And for the brain, what would that be?
Dorsal
Dorsal
hollow
hollow
nerve.
nerve.
Hollow,
The who?
yes. Dorsal hollow nerve.
Dorsal, yeah, very good. Dorsal hollow nerve cord. Very good, guys. Okay, cool. Anything else? Okay, good. Now we have permission to go into the circulatory system. A lot of people is asking me to do circulatory system. So here goes nothing. So let's go ahead and do that, right? So circulatory system, mainly the heart. So let's go ahead and look at that. Cardiovascular system. That's tutorial 2. So if you have tutorial 2, we're going to be looking at tutorial 2. We can see how much of that we could get to tonight. I think we could get a lot done. So I really think that we get a lot done. So let's go ahead and break things down. So I'm gonna give you all the time to just quickly go get your tutorial, like load it up on My Learning, or you may have it on your phone or whatever. But we're gonna be looking at tutorial number 2. Tutorial number 2. And we're gonna be looking specifically at the heart. Okay. And obviously the blood vessels and stuff like that. Okay. Good. All right, good. So, all right, we ready? Y'all ready to start? Can I start as yet? Let me know if we can start.
Hold on, mine's still loading.
Yeah, still loading. Okay, no problem. Okay, so in the meantime, while you're loading, we just go over the parts of the heart, right? So we're just gonna go over like, how the heart looks and works and stuff like that. So if I would ask you, what is the main function of the heart? Like, what would you say is the main function of the heart? What does the heart do? So we have the heart diagram right here. And someone says oxygenation, pump blood. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Circulation.
Cir-
Circulation. Yeah, me circulation.
For
Circulation of the blood.
sure. Circulation of the blood. I like pump blood. The heart is a pump, right? So that is a very good definition. So let's go ahead and talk about the different parts of the heart. So how many chambers does the heart have? How many chambers does the heart have?
4.
4 chambers. Very good. The heart has 4 chambers. So if we go here, I'm gonna like point to it. You're gonna tell me what it is. So what is 3? 3 is what chamber? This is a chamber. What is this chamber? Right out.
The right atrium.
The right atrium. Very good. And then we have this one. This is going to be the
Right
this is
Right
ventricle.
ventricle.
right ventricle. Very good. And then we have the next chamber. This is gonna be the what?
Left atrium.
Left atrium. Very good. And then we have this part is going to be the
Left ventricle.
left ventricle. Very good. If you notice, right? You see this part right here? This is the left ventricle, right? But if you notice this part, this has like a muscular wall. And if you look at it, this is much more muscular as compared to this region. And my question is, why is this side, the left side, why is this more muscular than the right side? Like, why is this side more muscular than as opposed to this one?
Because the left side has to pump blood throughout the entire body, whereas for the right side, it just has to pump the blood towards the lungs, which is a shorter distance.
Much, yeah, perfect answer. Perfect answer. I think you're looking at my notes. So, very good, Sierra. So basically, so she has it right, she has it all together. So this left side is going to pump the blood to the aorta, or aorta, obviously that's the largest artery, and that is going to go to the entire body. So it has to have a lot of force in order to do it. So you need a lot of muscle on this side so that you could be able to squeeze that blood and force it into the aorta, and so it could be rushing to all the parts of the body. So very important part of the heart. That's why this part is more muscular than this one. Okay, so number 1. What is number 1? This is what do we call this number 1? What is that?
I think the inferior vena cava.
Definitely. That is the inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. So obviously, you know, we have superior and we have inferior. Superior refers to the upper part. So if we're looking at the transverse plane cuts the human body into the upper part and the lower part. The upper being the superior and the lower being the inferior. So what's the job of the inferior vena cava? We notice the inferior vena cava. What is the job of the inferior vena cava? It's going to do what?
To carry deoxygenated blood back into the heart.
From where? Perfect answer. First of all, perfect answer. But just from where? So it's going to, you can say it's going to carry deoxygenated blood into the right atrium, but from where?
From the rest of the body after it goes through all the cells and tissues.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. I just was looking for the word lower region. Because if we look carefully, this is the inferior vena cava. So the inferior vena cava is not gonna collect the oxygenated blood from the upper region, like from the head and stuff like that. The inferior vena cava is only gonna focus on the lower regions. So what are some examples of places where you'd be expecting blood to come from to enter the vena cava? Inferior vena cava is gonna come from where? So let's draw the human, right? So we have the human being, right? And we're gonna cut it, right? So this is gonna be the lower region, and this is gonna be the upper region. So where is blood gonna come from? The oxygenated blood is gonna come from to get into the inferior vena cava. Where it's coming from? Like what parts of the body is it coming from?
Like
The
legs.
lower part of the body, like your leg.
Yeah, the legs, your thighs, your lower abdomen, all those parts. The lower part is where it's coming from, the inferior part. And obviously, so now we're gonna talk about the other vein, right? What is this vein right here? This is the what? This vein right here, this big one.
The superior vena cava.
Very good. This is superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. By the way, the vena cava is the largest vein. Is the largest vein. So let's make a note of that. So the superior vena cava is going to be the one that's going to carry the blood, deoxygenated blood, into the right atrium, and it's going to be collected into the right atrium. Deoxygenated blood, this is low in what? Oxygen. Okay, low in oxygen. Superior vena cava is going to carry blood from the upper regions and bring it to the it's going to collect blood from the upper regions and bring it to the right atrium. And then the inferior vena cava is going to collect blood from the lower regions and bring it to the right atrium. Okay, then we have our first valve, right? What is the purpose of the valve? Let me go here. This is obviously a valve. What was the purpose of the valve? This is going to be our valve.
To prevent backflow of blood.
Very good. To prevent backflow of blood, to ensure that the blood only goes in one direction. All right, so that's what we're gonna call. Would anyone know the name of this valve? This is a specific valve.
Yeah, tricuspid.
Say it again.
Tricuspid.
Very good. Tricuspid valve. I'm just gonna put T valve, right? So y'all could look at the diagram and y'all could get it, right? I ain't gonna spell that out, but that's very good. It's a tricuspid valve, right? Okay, so it's there to prevent the backflow of blood. So now blood is going to go from the right atrium into where? Into the
Right ventricle.
right ventricle. Very good. And then it's going to head into the lungs via this structure. Okay, so after it goes to the lungs, after it goes to the lungs, it's going to come back. So the blood is going to come back, and it's going to come back, and it's going to enter what region? What region? This is going to be the
left atrium.
The left atrium. Very good. Now this blood, how would you describe this blood? This blood is what? This blood is
Oxygenated.
oxygenated.
Oxygen.
Very good. So it has high H2O, right? Let me ask you a question. If you look at this, right? This region here has low oxygen, like deoxygenated blood. This region right here, these have high oxygenated, low oxygenated or deoxygenated, I should say. And this one has oxygenated blood. What is the name of the structure that separates the heart, or that separates the deoxygenated blood and the oxygenated blood? There's a region in the heart that separates the heart into two parts. What we call that region?
Yeah, somebody said it's in the chat. Septum.
The septum. Very good. The septum. So the septum, and there's a, it's called the intravicular septum right here. This is the septum. And the septum is going to separate the heart into two regions, right? Ensuring that the blood is separated from deoxygenated and oxygenated. So that's the septum. All right. Okay, good. Now we're gonna go to this particular structure. What do we call this structure? This is gonna be what? This is what? What is this structure here? Let me go ahead. Let's do it this way.
What, the valve?
Yeah, this is the valve.
The mitral valve.
Yeah, this is the mitral valve. So this right here is going to be another valve, and this is the mitral valve. A lot of valves, like we said, and we know that the job of the valve is to prevent the backflow of blood. So blood is going to go from the left atrium to the right ventricle. Sorry, to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle to this number 5 is the aorta. And let me say the aorta is the largest what? The aorta is the largest what?
Artery.
The largest artery. And from the aorta, it's going to go away from the heart and it's going to go to the rest of the body. All right. Now this blood is going to have nutrients, it's going to have oxygen, and that is what is going to give the cells. Now, what is oxygen? Why is oxygen needed? This is like last year material. Oxygen is needed so that what? We can have the formation of what? So oxygen, okay, just know that it's going to help with formation of ATP. And ATP is basically the body's form of energy. So oxygen is going to help the body cells to make ATP through aerobic respiration. You remember that, right? I know that was a lot of that was last semester, but that's what it's for. Okay. So this is in basic what we have for the heart. Obviously, we could go into more detail as we go into like the next slides. But you have to know this basics, right? This is basics that we need to know.
I have one question. So, like, I literally didn't know like the movement and all these things. Like, to me, it's so frustrating. But I know like the parts of the heart. So, I'm just gonna recite what you said to make sure that I have it good, if
Okay,
that's
good.
okay.
Yeah, tell me the movement that you have. Go ahead.
Right. So, deoxygenated blood
Mm-hmm.
entering from the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It
Mm-hmm.
flows through the tricuspid valve
Mm-hmm.
into the right ventricle,
Yeah.
right? And then it goes through the next valve. What valve was that again?
We didn't name this valve, but I have to go to diagram. I don't know this one over here.
Pulmonary.
This is the pulmonary
Yeah,
valve. Let me
the right pulmonary valve,
okay.
right? And then it exits out of the left pulmonary artery,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, so after the left pulmonary artery, that's what oxygenated,
Oh, it goes to the lungs.
or it goes to the
So
lungs,
it goes to the lungs. So let's
right?
put here lungs. So it goes to the lungs.
Okay, it goes to the lungs.
Yeah. And then after it goes to the lungs, it comes back
Uh-huh.
to the pulmonary vein
Right.
into the
Left atrium,
left atrium. Yeah.
right? Into the mitral valve,
Uh-huh.
straight down to the left ventricle,
Yes.
mhm, into the aortic valve,
Yes, correct. The
to
aortic
the
valve.
to the aorta, where
Yes.
the blood is pumped through the body.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey, I know something now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely it. All right. That's definitely it. Anyone else with the structure, stuff like that? Anyone else? Wanna any questions or comments? Don't be shy. Okay, so can I move this? Let me know if I can move this. I know it look like a bunch of scribbles, but I'm going to give y'all a flawless diagram right now. I can move this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me move all this stuff. Okay, so let's look at an actual label diagram. I wanted it to go unlabeled, so just so we could think instead of just depending on the diagram. So let's go labeled now. So labeled is going to be, and you're gonna see the whole cycle and everything, right? So that's gonna be the pretty version of it. All right, so now right now, this is a labeled one. This is way better than what I was saying. So good. So obviously, like we said, superior vena cava, right atrium, tricuspid valve. From the tricuspid valve, it's gonna go to the right atrium. From the right atrium, it's gonna go through the pulmonary artery. By the way, the pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. So remember that. All other arteries carry oxygenated blood, but the pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. All right. And then from the pulmonary artery, it's going to go to the lungs. It's not here, but it goes to the lungs. So this is the lungs where gas exchange happens. So oxygen, carbon dioxide, they interchange. And then it goes into the pulmonary vein, right? From the pulmonary vein, it goes to the mitral valve. From the mitral valve, it goes into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle into aortic valve. From the aortic valve, it goes to the aorta and through the rest of the body. Okay, so that's this. Any questions so far?
Yeah, I was not gonna ask a question.
Uh-huh.
So you said that the pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood.
That's correct.
Isn't so the pulmonary vein, is it that carries oxygenated blood or wrong?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So I should have made that big announcement too. The pulmonary vein is also the only vein that carries oxygenated blood, right? Because all the other veins carry deoxygenated blood. And it makes sense because they're going toward the heart. The pulmonary vein is the only vein that goes toward the heart that carries oxygenated blood because it just come from the lungs. It just come from the lungs. But the pulmonary artery, this artery is going away from the heart, yes, but it's going toward the lungs. So think about it. If it's going toward the lungs, this pulmonary artery is going toward the lung, it has to have deoxygenated blood so that it could go to the lungs, get the oxygen, and come back through the pulmonary vein, which is the only vein that's going to carry oxygenated blood toward the heart. All right?
Okay, thank you.
That makes sense? Okay, good. Any other questions before we move on? Let me know if we good. Okay, so this is like the basics of the heart. Now we need to know the basics of the blood vessels, right? So the basics of the blood vessels, we have three of them. Three main blood vessels. So blood vessels are basically blood pipes. So let me go ahead and clear our drawings. So we have obviously what are the three blood vessels that we have?
The arteries, the veins, and the capillaries.
Very good. The arteries, so the arteries, and then we have the what? The veins, and then we have the capillaries. Okay, so when you think about the arteries, think about a strong bodybuilder. Now, what do you know about a strong bodybuilder? How do they look? They are what?
Muscular.
Very good. They are muscular. So the arteries are they're gonna have muscular walls, right? The arteries also is gonna have a small lumen. So a small lumen. And the reason why they're gonna have a small lumen is because and a lumen is just an opening, right? It's gonna have an opening, right? So think about how pressure works, right? So if in order for you to have high pressure, right? So let's say I say I want you to have a high pressure. Which opening will give you the highest pressure? The big opening or the small opening? The highest pressure. What do you think?
Small.
The smaller one. Yeah,
Yeah.
smaller one. So the artery has a small lumen, a small opening, because it's going to be, that is actually going to be the one that has the most pressure. And it makes sense because when that left ventricle pushes the blood or pumps the blood with force through the aorta, it's going to go to the arteries, and that's coming with a lot of force. That's why it has to be muscular to be able to sustain that force. That makes sense? So it's going to have a small opening and it's going to have a muscular wall. In fact, we actually call them thick muscular walls, if I want to be exact. So we call them thick muscular walls. That's what arteries are, thick muscular walls. Thick muscular walls. And a small lumen. Now let's go to the veins. So the veins, you could think about the veins as like a scrawny kid or a skinny kid, right? A skinny kid. That's how I like to think about the veins. So the veins, they're gonna have what type of walls? They're gonna have thin walls. Not no muscular there. It's thin. It's gonna have a what? What type of lumen you're gonna think it up? A small lumen or a wide lumen?
A wide lumen.
Definitely a wide lumen because it ain't sustaining no pressure. And one characteristic about the veins is that it has a valves. Veins are valves. And obviously we know the purpose of the valves is that they're going to be prevent the backflow of blood. And then we have capillaries. Capillaries, these are the smallest blood vessels. Right? They're the smallest one. They are one cell thick. And they connect arteries and veins. Now, what sort of blood does arteries carry? These carry what? Oxygenated or deoxygenated?
Oxygenated.
Oxygenated blood. And what sort of blood does the veins carry?
Deoxygenated.
Deoxygenated blood. Very good. So those are your Those are your blood vessels. We call them blood vessels. I like to call them blood pipes, right? Because they're gonna be the one that they're literally like pipes in your kitchen, pipes in, like in the plumbing system. They're literally blood pipes. These are gonna be the pipes that carry the blood. Literally, that is their purpose. So I'm gonna show you all three structures, and I want you to tell me which one is which. All right. So I'm gonna give you three structures. You're gonna tell me, excuse me, which one is which. Okay. So let's go right here, and I'm gonna we're gonna tell me which one is which. So let me go back, and I probably can't see it clearly. So let me go back to the slide so I can open it up. We're on tutorial 2, right? Okay, good. So 1 second. This is it right here. Where are we? We here? I think yeah, we're right. No, that's part 1. Um, okay, there we go. We right out. Okay, good. So y'all gotta tell me which one is which. Okay, like which blood vessel is which blood vessel. All right. So all right. So as you can see, we have this here. So you have this diagram. It's empty. Let me clear all drawings. Okay, let's start off with we have A, we have B, and we have C. What is A?
The arteries.
The arteries. Okay, you want to lock that in?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have anyone who disagree with her? He says A is the arteries.
No.
No? Okay, cool. All right. That's what y'all saying. What is C?
The veins.
The veins. Okay. And what is B?
The capillaries.
The capillaries. Okay, so y'all give me this information. If I say, how would you defend that this is the arteries? All you have is a blood vessel. These are 2 blood vessels. How do you know this one is the artery, this one is the vein? Why would you say that?
A, I would say it's the artery because you could see that it has a more muscular wall than for
Mhm.
C, as well as a smaller lumen. Whereas
Okay.
C would be the vein because it has a thinner wall as well as a larger lumen. And what the capillaries, they're the small vessels that connect
Uh-huh.
them.
Okay, very good. I could give you that. But can we really see that this is more muscular than that? Can we really see that?
It's just larger. See, just larger. It just
See,
fatter.
it just fatter.
Yeah,
There's
the
a
lumen,
ma
the
there's
lumen
a
look bigger.
there's a major thing right there. I don't know if y'all could there's a major, if you in court and you say this, you win the case. It's a major blow. You can't refute, right? What y'all saying are good features, but I want the major blow, the main blow that really gives it away. And it has to do, let me see what someone put in the chat. Um, direction of flow. She's crying. Direction of flow.
Oh, is it not that um capillaries usually come from arteries?
Okay. Okay. I like the fact that the capillaries is good. You all gave the good defense for capillaries because capillaries connect arteries and veins. So that's a good defense. I can't say nothing about that. But A and C, like how do you all know? Like what is the final blow to say like yeah, for sure this has to be capillaries.
Well,
Someone
all that I really see in is the difference in the lumens.
the lumens. Okay, let me give you all a hint. The hint is in the color.
Is it because for oxygenated blood it has a brighter red color, whereas
Hmm.
for deoxygenated blood it has a darker color compared to the oxygenated blood.
Good. Now connect that to the A and C. Like how do we?
For A, since it's the bright red, that will mean that it's oxygenated leading to the arteries because they carry the
Mhm.
oxygenated blood. Whereas for C, since it's the darker color, that means it carries deoxygenated blood. So that would be the vein.
For sure. That is it. That's the kiss and blow, right? Because this obviously this is showing a blood vessel that carries oxygenated blood because of the red color. Now, blood is not red and blue, but the red and blue is there to show one is oxygenated, one is deoxygenated, right? So which blood vessel we know carries oxygenated blood?
Arteries,
Artery is very good. And what blood vessels we know carry deoxygenated blood?
veins,
The veins. And that is how we know, right? And obviously someone mentioned the direction of flow. This is going to be from where is blood coming from in this particular structure? Where's blood coming from?
Blood will be coming from the heart.
Definitely, because blood is coming from the heart. So blood is coming from the heart, and where's blood going to in this particular instance?
It's going back towards the heart.
It's going back towards the heart. All right. Are y'all understanding this? The rest of you all? Let me know, please, if you all getting it. The rest of us here. Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. So now I want to show you all that explicitly, right? So that was unlabeled thing, but I want to show you all the labeled one, right? So let's look at a labeled one. So one that makes it like absolutely clear. So whenever I'm looking at blood vessels, these are the diagrams that I like to look at because they make it unequivocally clear what is what. Okay. The first one that I like to look at is this one right here. Let me post it on the screen. Is this. I really like this one. This diagram right here is really helpful. I haven't found a more helpful diagram than this one, right? It shows you everything. So it shows you all the features. So obviously this one, what do we know about? Wait, let me put this back here. It corresponds directly with everything we talked about. So what are the features of the artery that we can clearly see from this particular diagram? We can clearly see what? What could we clearly see? We could clearly see the
small lumen,
we could see
the
the
thick
small lumen.
wall,
You can see the thick outer wall, right? We can see the thick layer of muscles and elastic fibers. That's why this is a strong bodybuilder. Let's go to the vein. What do we see with the vein? It has what?
the big lumen, the
A large
thinner
lumen,
walls,
thinner walls, very good. And fairly thin outer wall, thin muscle of elastic fibers. And then we have the capillary, or small little capillary, right? And the characteristic features is what? Very small lumen. I think we should add that as well. That could be added in our capillaries. And it is made up of a single layer of cells. All right. So that is that. So y'all could clearly see the difference here. All right. So this is a very good diagram. Just have a visual in your mind, like what is the difference between artery, vein, capillary, and stuff like that. That makes sense? Let me know if that's at least a little helpful.
yeah,
Okay. Then there's another picture that I like. That really shows something that we really didn't capture in any of our pictures so far. And the one that I like is um this picture. I like this one. This is a very good one. So with this one, you can clearly see it. Let me go ahead and post it for you. This one is really a really good one. By the way, this is just my personal hack. I like studying with pictures. So some people are visual learners, some people are not. But if you're a visual learner, it's really helpful with pictures, right? Pictures really help. They speak a lot. They speak way more than words. So with this one, the characteristic feature that we can see clearly, so from this one, if I had say, what is the difference that you can tell me between the artery and the vein? What is the immediate difference that you could see unequivocally?
That the vein has valves, whereas the artery doesn't.
Very good. That's what I really want to show, right? So veins have valves, arteries does not have valves. And so with these two pictures in conjunction, you have all that you need for at least the major things that you need for distinguishing all three blood vessels. You have the valves, you have the lumen, you have the outer walls, you have the large lumen, you have the one cell thick, and you have the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. So with these two pictures, even if you can't remember all these things, just keep these pictures in mind, and then you'll be able to like have a good understanding of what's happening. All right, does that make sense to you all? Let me know if that makes at least a little sense. All right,
Yeah,
so
I have a question.
go ahead.
So the veins, I just want to make sure that like I'm thinking like correctly, right?
Yeah.
So the veins would need valves because the pressure in them is so low that if they didn't have them, like the blood would just kind of backflow.
Um. ye- Uh. Yes. Let me tell you why I say yes. Because if you look at it, right, where when the veins come in, right, the veins is coming. So let's say we have this one, and we have this one, right? Sorry, terrible drawing. So I'd say that the veins have a hard job. Even though the arteries have a hard job, the veins also have a hard job too. Because if you look at the structure of this human being, right? Think about it. We're only talking about, so this is our lovely heart, right? You know, it's our lovely heart. So the veins, think about what your veins is gonna do. So I'm gonna just talk about the veins and this. The veins is gonna come from here. Imagine someone who is 7 foot. Imagine someone who is 6'5". Imagine someone who their legs are gonna be long. My legs are very short. Imagine someone with long arms. So think about it. If your blood is coming from the bottom, your toes, all the way to the heart, how in the world this is going against gravity? You see that? So that if the thing is going against gravity, like you have to have something so that whenever it goes up, it will not go back down. You understand what I'm saying? So you need the valves to be able to act as this feature whereby because this thing is going against gravity, it's going to need to have a feature such that it's not going to go back because it can go back because it's fighting against gravity. You see what I'm saying? So you need the valves to
Right,
make
that's what
sure.
I was thinking because I was like like for your veins, right? That as you see coming up from like quite your toes or like
Yeah,
the ends of your arms. There, that I
exactly.
was thinking I was to make sure that I'm thinking
Yeah.
properly. Thank
You're
you.
thinking right. You're thinking right. You're thinking right. That's definitely right. So you need that. You need that you need those valves to prevent the backflow of blood. Whereas the arteries, why would the arteries need valves? The arteries is going down towards gravity. Plus the arteries have an added advantage. They have a pump. Literally, they have a pump. The arteries have a pump. The heart. When the left ventricle pump that blood is going directly to the arteries and they're gonna pump the blood throughout the entire body. Plus the gravity. The arteries don't need no more help. Right? So that is a good idea right there that you mentioned. So good. All right, so are we good with this slide? Can I move everything? I don't know if I could move stuff. Let me know if I could move it before we move on to the next one. Yeah. Skeletal muscle pumps. Okay, good. All right. I can move this, guys. Let me know if I can move everything. No, yes. I guess you're telling
Yeah.
me. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so that's that. Now, in our remaining time, we're gonna talk about the blood and then we're gonna go over some tutorial questions. So, okay, what do we know about the blood? So first of all, the blood is a cell, tissue, organ, or system, or none of the above. Let me repeat myself. The blood is a cell, tissue, organ, system, or none of the above. How would you describe the blood?
Is
Which
it a
one of
tissue?
so would say a tissue, you go with a tissue. Anyone else? What is the blood?
Could you repeat what you said?
The blood is a cell, tissue, organ, system, or none of the above. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. The blood is a cell, tissue, organ system, or none of the above. Okay? Whatever one. Someone said something already, so that's a good attempt. Anyone else before I give you a answer? Okay? Okay, I guess someone else. Okay, so basically, I think that was charisma. I think that's charisma. I think.
Nah, I
That's
didn't
Haley.
say it because I don't
You did
know.
you didn't say anything. So that was that's probably Sierra.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, yeah. Sierra, you think you're right? Or that was just a good guess?
I would hope so because I was thinking how tissues are normally made up of cells, and blood
Uh-huh.
has living cells in it.
Okay. That is a good way to think about it. That is a very good way to think about it. I wouldn't think about it like that, but that's a very good way to think about it. Um, she's absolutely correct. The blood is a tissue. Okay. Now, what type of tissue? I don't know if y'all remember when we was dealing with connective tissue. The blood is a connective tissue, right? Because tissue is contrary to how we normally view tissues. Tissues can be liquid. So the blood is what we call a liquid tissue. And it is a connective tissue. By the way, there are 4 types of tissues. I already give you all one, connective tissue. Give me some other types of tissue that you know. We know connective. What are types of tissues that we know?
Muscular tissue,
Muscular tissue,
epithelial tissue,
epithelial tissue. Very good. And one more.
um, um, whoosh, I forget.
Mm.
Nervous
Mm.
tissue.
Nervous tissue.
Yeah,
Very good.
somebody said it in the chat.
Nervous tissue. Very good. Very good, Layel. And the person also said it aloud. Very good. Okay, cool. So let's break up the parts of the blood. So the blood, like we said, is a tissue. Said is made up of cells. What are some components in the blood? So what are the components of the blood? We could lay out.
Plasma.
Okay, we have plasma. So let's go ahead and do it step by step. So come on. Wait, let me stop
White
sharing it.
blood cell, red
One
blood
sec.
cell.
Yes. One sec. I don't know. This
And
thing.
platelet.
And platelets. Very good. The application. I don't know. It's pen process. Okay, it doesn't want to open back up the slide, so I can kind of cancel. Can y'all cancel at least? Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, y'all could see what slide I on?
Nope.
No, right? Oh no, this is not good. It's not allowing me to end. Okay, we just could talk through it, right? Until this computer like start making sense. Okay, so we have first of all we have the plasma. We have plasma. What else we have? Red blood cells. What else we have? So plasma, red blood cells. So what else we have?
White blood cells and
And
well, the platelet.
we have white blood cells, and then we have the platelets. Are we missing anything? We have plasma, we have white blood cells, we have red blood cells, we have platelets. Are we missing anything? No? Okay, so let's talk about the job of, I think best place to start would be the red blood cells, wouldn't it? So let's talk about the red blood cells. So the red blood cells, what is the job of the red blood cells? So definitely part of the heart. What is the job of the red blood cells?
To carry oxygen throughout the body. To
To
transfer
carry
the oxygen.
very good. To carry oxygen to the body. So okay, so okay, it's good now. I don't know, it's like say it's freaking out. Okay, y'all can see my screen now, right?
Yeah, we see it now.
Okay, so blood. So we have the red blood cells. The red blood cells, its main job is to, or I think the word is erythrocytes. That's another word you call red blood cells. Its job is to what? Carry oxygen throughout the body. How is the red blood cells well suited for this job? Like how is it
It has
structurally?
a biconcave shape
Okay.
as well as no nucleus and
Biconcave shape.
organelles, no organelles either. So it makes sure that it has enough space to carry the oxygen.
Very good. There's no nucleus, biconcave shape. It's there, its function, no organelles, like she said, no organelles. So it's there to strictly carry carry oxygen. Next, we have white blood cells. And there's different types of white blood cells. We have phagocytes, we have lymphocytes, we have neutrophils, right? All of them with various functions. Obviously, the phagocytes, they're going to participate in phagocytosis. And phagocytosis is the, if y'all could remember, I don't know if y'all and some of y'all in Javon.
Engulfing of the pathogens.
Very good. Engulfing of the pathogen. So it literally engulfs. When we say engulf, it like basically swallow it. These white blood cells are unfair. So basically, the main job of the white blood cells is basically immunity. We learned that inside class for those of us who were there. Its job is basically to protect, help the body fight off diseases, infections. I just rather like pathogens, right? Help the body fight against pathogens. Let's use that word because pathogens covers a broad spectrum of things, right? Cool. So pathogens refer to anything foreign. Okay, cool. Then we have what we call, we have different types. We have phagocytes and whatnot. We need to talk about all that right now. Next we have plasma. The plasma is the, by the way, what percentage of the blood is erythrocytes? The percentage of the blood. And what percentage of the blood is plasma? So just think about that, and we can talk about the functions of plasma. So the plasma is the liquid part of the blood. And what color is it? So this color is going to be like a pale color. So pale color. Or a straw color. You know, like
And just
straw?
also like a pale yellow.
Yeah, definitely. We could go with that. Pale yellow color. Like a straw color, right? Definitely. It's the liquid part of the blood, right? Then we have obviously the platelets. What's the job of the platelets? The platelets job is to
help with blood
Clot
clotting.
the blood.
help to clot the blood. Right, that's the job of the platelets. So red blood cells, plasma, platelets. Am I missing anything? I can't think of anything right now. If we miss anything, we could look at the other side. Okay, what's the percentage of the plasma? And what's the percentage of the erythrocytes? If y'all got a chance to think about that. So basically the percentages are as follows. I want to give y'all a chance to look at it if y'all can. Okay, no? Okay. So plasma is going to be 55% and erythrocytes is going to be 45%. That's a lot of percent. So the question is, where do the other ones lie? Well, they're going to be like a very small percentage. All right. So the main thing of your blood is really the red blood cells and the plasma. That's like the main thing. Everything else is very small percentage. Okay. So all in all, if I were to describe the functions of the blood, I can say the blood helps to carry oxygen throughout the body. The blood helps with immunity, and the blood also helps with clotting. All right. And the blood, because of the liquid part of it, helps with thermal regulation. You all know what I mean by thermal regulation? Like, it's basically
Like the temperature.
the temperature. Like, so it helps, like when it's cold, very cold, the blood is go to your chest area. So it helps to warm you, right? So that your internal organs would not die, right? So it helps to protect them. Okay, so let's look at this picture. Like we said, a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So here we have all these different functions. We have the red blood cells. We have the white blood cells, right? So this is blood. We have the platelets and we have the plasma. So clearly we didn't miss anything, at least according to this diagram. If we want to go in depth, so this is a very good, I like this picture. I always like this picture. whenever I'm explaining the blood. This is a very nice image. Now let's talk about the other one. This is another picture, very nice picture. Platelets, like we said, white blood cells, red blood cells. Like we said, the red blood cells is 45%, the plasma is 55%, and everything else falls into this very small category. This is a very good one. I like this one because it shows you the different types of white blood cells. So we have erythrocyte, which is the red blood cells. We have monocyte, which is a type of white blood cells. Basophil, type of white blood cells. Eosinophil, type of white blood cell. Platelets, obviously help with blood clotting. Neutrophil, obviously that's a type of white blood cell. Lymphocyte, type of white blood cell. Plasma, obviously plasma is the liquid part of the blood. Okay, so those are what we have. Right, so very good image that we have, right? So let me go ahead and move all of this. Can I move this? Let me know if I can move everything before I do. And so, very good. Can I move? Yes, no, maybe so. I'm thinking yes. I think yes. Okay, so let's move on from this. So now we can go on to the tutorials. So sorry about that. I know we did a long talk, but hopefully I think we're ready for the go into tutorial questions. So now let's go into our tutorial questions. We start off with question number 1. So question number 1, so this makes it easier. This is so easy now, right? So you all could be able to tell me which one is the artery, which one is the vein, based on this image. Which one is the artery, which one is the
Is
vein?
X and vein is Y.
Very good. You see how easy that was? The X is the artery, the vein is the vein. The vein is Y. Why do you say so? What gives it away?
Because X is a small lumen,
Mm-hmm.
where Y have a larger lumen,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see X being a little more muscular on the
Mm-hmm.
outside.
Yeah, thick muscular walls, whereas Y, how would you describe these walls?
Thin walls.
Thin walls. Very good, thin walls. So the correct answer is A. Next, we have, oh, this is interesting. So this one says that the diagram below shows the changes in blood pressure as the blood flows through the blood vessels, which correctly identifies the vessels labeled I to IV. Is it A, B, C, or D? Right?
C.
C. Someone saying C. Correctly identifies. Who said C?
Me.
Sierra. Why
Yeah.
would you say C?
Well, I would say C because first you'll have the artery that would obviously be the highest blood pressure, and then as the atriole is a branch of the branched off from the artery, that's when the blood pressure will start to decrease. The capillary will then have a lower blood pressure as well for it will slow down for diffusion of gases to make sure it diffuses accurately and to the best of its abilities. And then finally, the venule is that part of the vein, and vein has the lowest blood pressure.
Okay, absolutely correct. So basically, so first of all, what is this describing? So the correct answer is C. By the way, she is right. So the correct answer is C. So what is this describing? Is this describing, so we have a graph, right? On this side, we have pressure. On this side, we have blood vessels. So what that basically is trying to say is which blood vessel is going to have the most pressure, basically. So you could do process of elimination. First of all, it can't be D. This is venule. The veins is not going to have more pressure than the artery. Then you have arteriole. So it will leave you with artery, arteriole, and artery, right? You can't go from an arteriole to a large artery. You only could go from a large artery to arteriole. So it can't be B, right? You cannot go from a, so this was, now, let's look at A. A is saying we go from an artery to a capillary to an arteriole to a venule, okay? So why cannot it be A? What's the problem? So the problem with A is that, can someone tell me the problem with A?
The capillaries, s- the arteriole
Uh-huh.
is supposed to be before the capillary because the arteriole is the extension from the artery and the
Yes.
have a smaller pressure of blood.
Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. The arteriole is gonna have more pressure than the capillary. Artery and arterioles always have more pressure than all of them, right? Then you have the capillary, then you have the venule. Another thing is that what does the capillary do? The capillary always stands between the vein and the artery, doesn't it? So you can't go from artery to capillary to arteriole. You have to go from artery, arteriole, capillary, venule. Because remember, we said that the artery connects arteriole and artery and vein. So this one is saying, as obviously here, this describes something that has a lot of pressure. That would be your artery. Then the pressure is going to be lowered. That is going to be your arteriole. Then the pressure lowers again. That's going to be a capillary. And finally, the pressure is very low. That's going to be a vein. So the correct answer is definitely C. Okay. Next, we have number three. So number three says, which of the following takes in which of the following label structures takes oxygen to all the parts of the body other than the lungs? So which label structure would that be? Say it again.
It'll be
It would be A. Okay, why you say A?
A. Because the A is the aorta, and the aorta takes the oxygenated blood away from the heart towards the rest of the body.
Very good. It would definitely be A. And I have a diagram that helped me to figure it out. So hopefully it's helpful too. A is the aorta. All right. Because the aorta is not going to touch the lungs. It already been to the lungs, so it's not going to go back to the lungs again. Number 4. Okay, where is the mammalian heartbeat initiated? Is it A, B, C, or D? Where's the mammalian heartbeat initiated?
See?
It's D.
It's D, definitely. The sinoatrial node. So correct answer is D. Number 5. Which chamber of the heart shows the greatest pressure changes during one cardiac cycle? Is it left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle, or right ventricle?
It would be C, the left ventricle.
Greatest pressure, yes, C. It would be left ventricle. Good. Okay, so I give you all a choice. I do have another Kahoot that we could do, or we could continue with the questions. So it's your choice. Should we go to the Kahoot, or should we continue with the rest of the questions? It's your choice. Y'all don't be shy now. Y'all want us to go
Like,
to the Kahoot?
all I wanna do a vote.
The Kahoot to kind of like test the knowledge.
You want to test the knowledge? Okay, then if you want to do the Kahoot, put 1. If you don't want to do the Kahoot, put 2. Okay, in the chat, and we can see how that goes. So 1 for Kahoot, 2 for no Kahoot. All right. Okay, so yeah, we ain't gotta worry about that. Most persons say yeah. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and by the way, for the Kahoot, please make sure that um you look carefully and you read carefully and you have your information in front of you. All right, it's a very short Kahoot, so it's not gonna be long, but it's gonna be quick. So let me go ahead and um, share my screen with y'all. I'm also gonna put the link in the in the chat as well. So the key about this one is not just that you know the question, but you have to answer it quickly. All right? That's what this is testing, yeah. So that's the link for the Kahoot. You could go ahead and um you can log in and then we could have a Kahoot before we this up. Okay. All right. I think that's us. Is there anyone who want to join besides Sierra, Charisma, and Haley? Anyone else want to join before I start it? I know she kind of joined last time. I don't know if she want to join again. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good. I think we're ready to start. I give anyone else 10 more seconds and then okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's begin. I think we're ready. All right, so let's go. All right, so the heart. So the first question states that we want to figure out which one of these is the correct answer. So we have two diagrams and we want to figure out which one is the artery, which one is the vein. All right, very good. Everyone got it? So let's see. Okay, just gotta be fast. All right, just gotta be a little fast. Okay, so next we have number 2. So this one is testing which part has like the strongest pressure. All right, so is it gonna be A, B, C, or D? Which region has the strongest pressure? Very good. It's definitely gonna be that C. So good stuff, everyone. All right, excellent. Moving on, moving right along. We have um. So this one we're trying to test which part, which labeled structure takes oxygenated blood to parts of the body other than the lungs. Very good. So it's gonna be A. Okay, next we have um. Where is the mammalian heartbeat initiated? Where is the mammalian heartbeat initiated? Very good. It's definitely in the sinoatrial node. Okay, everyone basically saying the same. And then finally, last question. Which chamber of the heart shows the greatest pressure changes during one cardiac cycle? Which chamber of the heart shows the greatest pressure changes during one cardiac cycle? Very good. It's going to be the left ventricle. Okay, so let's see who made it to podium. Very good, JB. Very good, Haley. And excellent job. I think this is, yeah, Surya. Very good. And everyone else, obviously, y'all did a very good job. Everyone did very well. Everyone did very well. And one thing about this platform, it takes a while to get used to it, like with the clicking and stuff. So, and internet could be slow. So that's fine. But everyone did pretty well. Okay, so now let's move on. So we're gonna end at 8:30, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish at least however much we're able to finish, then we can finish. Okay. So I'm not gonna keep you all there past 8:30 because I know we've been there for a while. Okay, so next we have number 6. So number 6 says, so number 6 shows a diagram, and the thing about the diagram is that it show y'all could see from your slide, right? From your should I say from your tutorials? Or no? Or maybe I just show it. Let me just show it then. You probably can't see. Okay, so let's go look at the question. So what happened is we have these curves and okay, good. So we have these curves and the question says, which of the above curves would you expect to represent the behavior of hemoglobin in the presence of the highest concentration of carbon dioxide? Okay. So this is the graph. This is showing saturation of oxygen, saturation of HB with oxygen, and this is showing oxygen concentration. So this is showing the saturation of the hemoglobin with oxygen, and this is showing oxygen concentration. So which of the curves would you expect to represent the behavior of hemoglobin in the presence of the highest concentration of carbon dioxide? Any answers for this one? Any guess? Anyone? A, B, C, D? No? Sierra?
Is it D?
Say it again.
Is it D?
D as in dog?
Yes.
Yes, it is D. It is D. So basically the idea with hemoglobin is this. So the way I look at it, so this is hemoglobin, right? So this is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin. Obviously, hemoglobin is a tertiary protein. We learned that last semester. But the thing about hemoglobin is that hemoglobin is very specific. So hemoglobin is not going to be carrying two people at once. So this is how it works. So the way our hemoglobin works is that if hemoglobin is carrying a lot, let's call this one oxygen, right? If hemoglobin is carrying a lot of oxygen, it is not going, it loses its affinity for carrying carbon dioxide, right? That's the way human globin is not going to say, oh, we're going to carry a lot of carbon dioxide, we're going to carry a lot of oxygen. That's not how it works. Hemoglobin is very specific. Hemoglobin says, if you are going to have me carrying oxygen, you better be sure that I am not going to be carrying a lot of carbon dioxide. That's the way how hemoglobin works. The same way is true the other way around. The same way is true the other way around. So the other way around says, hemoglobin says, listen, you got to pick. You can't be doing two things, right? I'm not going to stress myself out. So hemoglobin says, hey, if you decide that you want me to carry a lot of carbon dioxide, what you think hemoglobin is going to do with oxygen? What do you think it's going to do? Will it be high or will it be low?
It would be low.
It would be low. It would be low. And that is what we are showing right here. So, what is this saying? This is saying that, hey, which of the curves would you expect to represent the behavior of hemoglobin in the presence of the highest concentration of carbon dioxide? Now, if we have a lot of carbon dioxide, do we expect the oxygen to be high or do we expect the oxygen to be low? If we have a lot of carbon dioxide, do we expect the oxygen to be high or do we expect the oxygen to be low if we have a lot of carbon dioxide? What y'all think?
The oxygen is supposed to be low.
The oxygen is supposed to be low. So if we look at this diagram, which one shows the saturation of oxygen at the lowest? It will be this last one. Because if you look at this one, the saturation of oxygen is literally right there. Let me actually do a better diagram. So let me clear this down. So if you look at this, let me use say a line. So if we go from here to say here, isn't that the lowest? Wait, come on, Isaac. Let's do a straight line. If we have from here to here, right? Isn't this the lowest saturation out of all the graphs? Like this is the lowest peak. Would you all agree?
Yeah.
That's the lowest one. So since this is the lowest one, this is the one that most represents what's happening when we have a lot of carbon dioxide. the saturation of oxygen will be the lowest. It can't be this. This one is too high. It can't be this. This one is too high. It cannot be this either. This one is too high. It would have the lowest saturation, right? When the carbon dioxide is all the way up. That's why it's going to be low. So this one, this represents its behavior here. So what is happening actually with this graph? This is saying that this is oxygen concentration, right? So, and this is saturation with oxygen. So look, over time, you still have oxygen concentration, but guess what? It's not being, like the hemoglobin is not, even though you have a lot of oxygen concentration, you could increase. So you increase the oxygen concentration, you increase the, because usually what's supposed to happen, right? Is that the more you increase this is like the ideal situation, right? So the more you increase the oxygen concentration, the more the hemoglobin is supposed to be filled with oxygen. That's literally supposed to happen. So more carbon dioxide, sorry, more oxygen, more saturation with hemoglobin. However, if you look at this line, right, this graph, it shows the graph with the lowest slope. Not only the graph with the lowest slope, but the graph with the lowest peak. So the oxygen, so hemoglobin is saying, I want to connect. I have a low affinity. I don't want to connect with no oxygen because I already have carbon dioxide. So this is showing that this is because if you look carefully, right, this graph is the one that has the lowest slope, right? So what is this saying? This is saying that the hemoglobin is saying, I don't want to connect with oxygen. I don't want to do it. You all forcing me to do something I don't want to do. That's why, even though it does collect some oxygen, it has the lowest slope, right? It's like the flattest line. The same is true here, right? Well, at least for these other ones, this one is very fast. So you see how fast hemoglobin connect with the oxygen? That's because there's not a lot of carbon dioxide there. But as you increase, the more and more you increase your carbon dioxide level, the more and more hemoglobin is saying, I don't want it. So the one that shows the one with the highest concentration of carbon dioxide is going to be the one that has the lowest slope and the one that has the lowest peak, which will be D or IV. That make sense to you all? Let me know if that makes sense or you don't get it. Let me know before we leave. Make sense, everyone? We good? In the chat, okay. Understood. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, good. So this is our final question. It's actually 8:31. So that brings us to the end of this lesson. Very good lesson. So we're very attentive and paid and engaged. That's good. We're gonna do the same thing next week. Last Godspell Life. So I will see you very soon. So thank you so much. And we'll play catch up. Take care, everyone. See you soon. All right.
Bye, everyone. Everybody have a good night. See you on
You
next
too.
Saturday.
Yes, you too. You too. Take care.